Welcome to FantasyFran.com. Sports Crazy Chris Barnes with you. And with me today is senior analyst Eddie Bevins with me here talking about the top 5 quarterbacks for this week 13. And I know Fran isn't here, but we've talked to him on this. We've consulted. Right. We've got a really, really good top 5 for you. So start with number 1 for me.
I mean, we're really going out on a limb at number 1 this week. It's Tom Brady. This is a huge shock to many of you, I'm sure. You may have not wondered, who is this guy? But he's going up against Indianapolis, and you might have heard that they're terrible this year. They're allowing opposing quarterbacks to complete 71% of their passes.
Oh, my goodness.
The NFL record for a single season is less than 71%. The Indianapolis defense turns an average quarterback into a record setter. Imagine what Tom Brady's going to do.
Exactly.
Who do we have at number 2, Chris?
Well, Aaron Rodgers. I would tell you that, you know, for the majority of the year, Fran has had him at number 1. Yeah. But, golly, like you said, just going up against Indy, you got to put Tom Brady 1. But Aaron Rodgers is going up against the New York Giants. Well, you know what? I wouldn't have typically said that the New York Giants could make somebody look like a Hall of Fame passer, but after last week's performance against their number 3 passer, goodness gracious, they looked really bad. But Aaron Rodgers has been playing extremely great, has an amazing, amazing passer rating, has really done a great job of protecting the ball. You know, the fact that he threw an interception the other week was just an anomaly. But he has every weapon available to him, and he makes use of all of them. We've seen Jordy Nelson emerge. Greg Jennings is Greg Jennings. He's beginning to use Jermichael Finley more and more. And if they can get a running game, watch out, because Aaron Rodgers will be even more of a weapon leading into the playoffs, but we like him at number 2 this week. How about number 3?
Number 3 has to be Drew Brees. I mean, that's the trifecta, isn't it really? It's Brady, it's Rodgers, it's Brees.
Always.
It's those top 3 almost every week. And he's up against Detroit. Detroit's going to be without Ndamukong Suh. They might struggle a little bit to put so much pressure on, which is really what Detroit's defense is built to do. And if they can't do that, then Brees could pick them apart, just the way he did the Giants on Monday night. He looked incredible. Tell me about number 4.
Well, number 4, I think, is a little bit of a stretch, but not really, especially after seeing what he did on Monday night.
That's true.
And that's Eli Manning. Eli Manning has probably had the best season as a whole of his entire career. I don't think that's too much of a stretch. But part of that has been the emergence of some real weapons, but meanwhile, kind of the decline of the running game. Ahmad Bradshaw has gone by the wayside. Jacobs is not the Brandon Jacobs of old. Their number 3 running back is Ware, and who cares? You know, I mean, so he needs to air the ball out more for this team to have a chance. So we're seeing guys like Victor Cruz and Mario Manningham and Jake Ballard and Akeem Nicks. He has a great wide receiving core, and they will be on full display against a Green Bay defense that has improved over the last couple of weeks. But you can score against that defense, and that's been obvious this season. Number 5, we joke around about that guy, but we expect him to have a big day.
We like Tony Romo a lot this week. I mean, he has so many weapons in Dallas right now. He's got Des Bryant. He's got Laurent Robinson. He doesn't even miss Miles Austin. And coming into the year, that was the guy everybody's like, Tony Romo and Miles Austin. The 2 of them, wow. But without Austin, they haven't skipped a beat. I mean, they have DeMarco Murray easing the pressure, so defenses have to worry about the run. They're a really good offense against any team, and especially this week against Arizona. Arizona's made some quarterbacks look really good this year. As you might remember, Cam Newton threw for 400 yards that first game of the year against Arizona. I mean, it's happened quite a bit. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Tony Romo put up some big numbers this week.
Fair enough.
Now I want to ask you, we've had some injuries at the quarterback position lately.
We have.
Some injuries for some teams that really are trying to compete for playoff spots. Specifically Chicago and Houston. They're both having to go with relative unknowns, Caleb Haney and TJ Yates. And what do you think they're going to be able to do, and how will their teams be able to do?
I got to say, I was talking to Fran about this the other day, and we were talking about TJ Yates and Caleb Haney. He said, you know, when TJ Yates came into the game last week to replace Matt Leinart with the broken collarbone, he said TJ Yates played better than Leinart. Not that that's real hard, but he actually showed him a little something. So I like TJ Yates in that position as opposed to Matt Leinart. And Caleb Haney proved last year in the playoff game that he can come in and play. But it was obvious the last game that he had some nerves. We saw the play at the end of the game where he didn't know to spike it or pass it or anything like that. That's nerves. That's straight up nerves. So after talking to Fran, he thinks Haney is not going to turn the ball over 3 times the way that he did before. TJ Yates has a fighting chance. But here's the thing. When it comes to playoffs and Super Bowls and all this kind of stuff, the teams that win have rock-solid defenses, okay? The Bears are playing great defense.
Yep.
We talked about that in our defensive section. And Houston, my God, they've come out of nowhere.
Yes.
Last year, they were terrible. And this year, they're probably, on paper, the best statistical defense in the league.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? So the fact that they have great defenses and solid running games make the fact that Caleb Haney and TJ Yates, the fact that they're starting, it's somewhat good for them because they have all the pieces around them to make it a non-factor. But I got to ask you, and we talked to Fran about this, we've talked to a lot of people about this, but give me your take on the whole Tim Tebow deal.
People are talking about that a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I hear he's 5-1.
Yeah, how about that?
I mean, that's the thing. It's been something to watch. Everybody wants to chime in on it, don't they? I mean, you have the people. The Tebow's been great crowd. You have the people who say he's been terrible and it's been all the defense. But what's interesting to me is that, just how much harder this team plays when it's Tim Tebow under center. This is the same team, the same group of guys that was 1-4 under Kyle Orton. It's actually a little worse since they shipped off Brandon Lloyd for nothing. And they're 5-1 under Tim Tebow. Say what you want about the process. Maybe it's not what people are used to seeing, but it's working. What's funny is, I don't know if you remember, but before Tim Tebow came in and got that first start, everybody was saying, well, how are we going to evaluate Tim Tebow? We know he's not going to put up beautiful passing numbers, but you got to evaluate him on wins and losses because he does so many other things. He can run, he eases the pressure off the receivers, he doesn't turn the ball over. So you got to look at wins and losses, not just straight up passer rating.
Right.
Here we are 6 games in, he's 5-1. And suddenly everybody wants to talk passing stats. Well, what happened to let's judge him by his record? It's just this. There's some people I don't think he can win. There's some people he just can't win, and some people he can't lose. So it's going to be one of those things we have to be realistic. We can't just look at him by this passing stats if that's what we say we can't judge him by.
Right.
And he's one of those guys, I think, with all the other things he does, those passing stats don't tell the whole story.
Sure. Well, for sure, he'll be fun to watch this week, but these are our Week 13 picks at the quarterback position. We appreciate you joining us, and join us back next week for all the Week 14 picks right here as we approach the fantasy playoffs right here at fantasyfran.com.